Strange things are found all over the place, but surprisingly, some of the oddest are found closer to home than you might think, in people's back gardens. These are the 20 scariest things people found in their backyards. Number 20. Man finds complete World War II air raid shelter beneath his Luton driveway. What would you do if you found a mysterious hole in your driveway? Man kept hearing strange noises under driveway. Look what he found inside. His name is Simon Mark, and he was 37 years old at the time of the curious event. One day, he thought he had driven onto a flower bed when the wheel of his black Vauxhall Zafira got stuck in a mysterious hole outside his home. He called his father, Gerald, to come and help him figure out what was going on. As they started clearing the mud out, they realized that they were standing on the entrance of a World War II air raid shelter. In fact, the entire house was actually built on top of it. They continued clearing out the mud, but the shelter was a lot bigger than what they had anticipated. His 400,000-pound home was, in fact, covering a 2-roomed air raid shelter. What at first looked like a sinkhole turned out to be a historical construction. After this event occurred, they Googled it and found out that there were quite a few shelters in that area, all of them made from concrete lintels. The one under his driveway is in immaculate condition. He thinks the previous owners decided to build a shelter after a German bomb landed a bit too close to the house for comfort. Now, with all the dirt and mud out, the shelter turned out to be 10 feet deep.
Like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
Now, it's time for the odd topic. This man kept hearing strange noises under the driveway. Look at what he found inside. He started digging dirt in his yard, only to find a giant World War II swastika under there. That's already weird enough, but what was causing the noises? What do you think? We have no idea. A very curious and weird find, don't you think? As always, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below using the hashtag oddtopic. Number 19. 7-foot alligator scales backyard fence. Of all the things you would expect to find in your backyard, I'm sure that a 7-foot gator isn't the one you're hoping for. In this image, you'll see how a strange incident happened to a family from South Carolina. They woke up one day only to find the massively huge reptile in their own backyard. The poor animal was desperately trying to climb back up the fence in order to escape, but he wasn't being very successful at it. Miss Sabuck, the owner of said backyard and the one who took the picture, explains that to her, the creature looked 10 feet long, but in reality it was 7 feet. Still pretty damn big though. She was taking a picture of how long the animal was when, in one fell swoop, it got on top of the fence. Did you know gators could do that? Nowhere is safe. She also mentioned that the gator had been wandering around the neighborhood for quite some time. The reptile was eventually captured by the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Let's hope he learned his lesson and didn't go on adventures in people's backyards anymore. Number 18. Child found preserved in coffin from 1800s gets headstone with her real name. Over a century and a half ago, a little 2-year-old girl was buried in her family's plot in the Yerba Buena section of the Oddfellows Cemetery in San Francisco. But the graveyard was later closed and the caskets relocated. But somehow, her tiny little glass-paneled resting place was left behind and then forgotten. Her name was Edith Howard. She was born on October 13, 1876. And now, homeowners John and Erica Carner discovered the puzzling casket with Edith's perfectly preserved little body inside of it, right under their backyard. Because her coffin was tightly sealed, decomposition was significantly slowed down. The Carners contacted a nonprofit who identified the little girl and even found a cemetery with some of her past family members. They nicknamed her Miranda Eve and reburied her during a lovely June service attended by about 140 people. Perfect strangers gathered on a foggy California morning to honor the short life of a toddler that died before they were all even born. Old funeral home records showed that young Edith died from severe undernourishment, which was called marasmus at the time. The condition may have been caused by an infectious disease that sadly resulted in the toddler wasting away. Number 17. Giant anaconda found in Florida neighborhood. Lisa Remsburg let her 2 dogs out on an ordinary Monday morning to do what dogs do. It all happened in her home in Melbourne. Gizmo, the Shih Tzu, and Teddy, the half-poodle, dashed happily outside to the side yard. But soon, things took an unexpected turn. The 2 little dogs, keyword being little here, sprinted to sniff out a large, shiny, dark object. Was it a hose? Now, the pile of stuff? Well, not that either, no. It was none other than a 9-foot green anaconda that was rearing its reptilian head and veering toward the 2 little tiny pooches and, doing what snakes do. The gigantic predator raised its head up, snapping and lurching at the dogs to make them back off. And it worked. Well, kinda. Teddy hurried back into the house, but Gizmo was still pretty curious about the 9-foot carnivorous snake. Call it bravery or call it something else. But Lisa knew she had to intervene if she wanted to cuddle with Gizmo that night. She called for her neighbor, who came running armed with a shovel. He managed to hold the snake down and placed it into a container with a lid until the officers could get there. Brevard County Animal Services took the anaconda, handed it over to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Number 16. Man finds rare painting in garage. A painting by abstract expressionist Jackson Pollock found in a garage in Arizona. The painting was found in conjunction with a trove of 20th century abstract artists associated with Clement Greenberg, including a piece by Kenneth Noland that is already sold for $110,000. The art was left with the current owner, who has chosen to remain anonymous, through the estate of his sister, Jennifer Gordon, a friend of Peggy Guggenheim and an art collector. Levine, an art expert and a private investigator, reviewed letters from the Guggenheim, interviewed sources close to Greenberg, and researched Gordon's life to see how a Pollock might have ended up in Arizona anyway. Meanwhile, forensic expert Peter Paul Bureau determined that the painting didn't contain any material anachronistic to Pollock's practice. After an expensive restoration process undertaken by Levine, forensic experts confirmed that the painting was likely one of Pollock's missing gouaches, a specific style of water and binder painting used by the artist between 1945 and 1949. The piece, untitled, was to be auctioned with a starting price of $5 million. It's noteworthy that the painting was unsigned and that the Pollock-Krasner Foundation refuses to authenticate it or any potential Pollock. This practice is not uncommon. In 2011, Warhol's authentication board had to close because he owed more than $7 million in legal costs. Number 15. Fallout Shelter. A family from Wisconsin discovered a fully stocked fallout shelter in their backyard half a century after it was installed at the height of the Cold War. When the Zwicks moved into their new home in Neenah, they learned about the Cold War bunker in their backyard. But it wasn't until more than a decade later that they decided to open the very heavy steel hatch to take a look inside. This anecdote dates back to 2010. When a family member climbed down to the ladder to explore the 8-foot by 10-foot chamber, they realized that the bunker was full of water. The previous owner had built the shelter to protect his family from an eventual nuclear attack, and floating in at least 5 feet of water were sealed U.S. Army boxes packed with all the supplies you could imagine necessary for a family to survive 2 weeks underground. Evidently, the previous owner was a good planner. He thought of everything. There were boxes of candy, raisins, Hershey's syrup, and so many other sweets. These were likely as treats to get through the pain of being stuck in a nuclear conflict and to appease the scared children. There were also old military ammunition crates that had markings suggesting there might be explosives inside. This guy sure wasn't ready to give up on his family. Everything remained remarkably well preserved due to the airtight containers that they were kept in. The family, after calling for help to dispose of the explosives, donated all the items to the Neenah Historical Society. Number 14. Father and daughter find adorable baby foxes in their backyard. And now for a cute story. A New Jersey homeowner and his daughter were fortunate enough to find a delightfully adorable surprise in their backyard, a litter of fox cubs. Philip Wang and his child Alice discovered the babies on their 7-acre property in Princeton. The pair took pictures as the little angels dozed together, played with each other, explored their surroundings, and all over were just being damn cute. Philip told reporters that he sees foxes a few times a year, so the family knows they have foxes. But a week prior to this event, he heard a soft meowing coming from his backyard near the shed, kind of like the sound a kitten would make. So he went to look at what it was all about, and there were baby foxes there. Him and his daughter started taking pictures of the cubs every day, cause, well, look at them. But don't worry, Mama Fox came back later that day with dinner. She made sure her babies were safe and well fed. The babies got used to the humans, but Mama is still a little bit weary. Let's hope she gets used to them and comes back every year to have her young at the same spot. Number 13. We found a weird alien caterpillar in our backyard. In West Virginia folklore, the Mothman is a humanoid creature reportedly seen in the Point Pleasant area from November 15, 1966 to December 15, 1967. Although the legendary Mothman was mostly only seen in Chicago and the area around it, this family from Texas was convinced, at least at first, that they had themselves a case of a Mothman invasion in their front yard. But then, upon closer inspection, they realized that the creature they had found looked a little bit more like an alien with a caterpillar body. Mostly also because the Mothman has red eyes, and this alien-looking thing does not. The family posted the video on the internet looking for answers, and it quickly went viral. But as a consequence, a lot of users started posting that the creature looks like a caterpillar that they've replaced the head with a plastic toy and stuck doll hands in its legs. Whatever this thing is, let's just hope they didn't butcher a poor caterpillar just to get some internet clout. That would just be cruel. What do you think? Do you believe this is a true alien or a simple caterpillar with a plastic head stuck to it? Number 12. Glendale man finds meteorite in front yard after monsoon storm. When a bright flash of light struck across the night sky in the valley in Arizona on July 26, 2018, not too many people managed to see it. But one man was too close not to notice, as the meteorite ended up landing in his own backyard. In fact, according to the American Meteorite Society, only 12 people in total reported seeing the meteorite, and of those, only one heard a sonic boom. The space rock came on a rainy, cloudy, and dark night with a lot of thunder and lightning. That might be the reason why such a unique and magical event went unnoticed to so many neighbors. The lucky resident, Cody Horvath, is now a local celebrity, as this is the first meteorite ever to fall in the valley and the fifth to fall in Arizona altogether. A fall occurs when witnesses manage to see meteorites falling from the sky, and then the rocks are tracked on the ground. Meteorite finds are much more common, although in these cases, no one knows when the meteorite fell. They're simply just there. The day the monsoon dissipated, Horvath was just kicking around gravel when he noticed a big black rock. Being a mineral enthusiast himself, he decided to look on the internet for answers. And alas, he had a meteorite. Number 11. Mama bear and cubs caught having a pool party in backyard. Call Goldilocks. We've found the bear family from the children's story. But as it turns out, the story wasn't so far-fetched after all. Take a look for yourself. This incredible video shows a mama bear and her 5 cubs enjoying a relaxing day in someone's backyard. The Basso family of Rockaway, New Jersey got the fright of their lives back in the summer of 2015 when they saw 6 black bears nonchalantly splashing around in their above-ground pool. The cubs even play in the multicolor slides. The dad thought the bears would have a quick drink of water and move on, but apparently Mama Bear had other plans. She decided this would be their public pool and playground for the summer. And at this point, there wasn't much the Basso family could do other than take cute videos and wait from inside the house until they decide to leave their yard. Nobody was harmed, as every member of the Basso family was smart enough to stay indoors patiently. Although by the end of the day, the pool inflatables had certainly seen better days. And also, the pool ended up being absolutely full of hair. No wonder insurance covers bear damage. There was only one moment of panic when Mama Bear decided to grab the water pump, and Human Mama thought she might electrocute herself. But thankfully, nothing happened. They had their fun at the pool and eventually moved on peacefully. Number 10. Family peeks into their backyard, comes face to face with unknown animal. What started just like any other ordinary day ended up being a very special one, and here's why. David Scott, a 45-year-old engineer from a residential suburb near Cheshire, decided to get some crisp morning air with his son, so they both went to the backyard to play for a little while before breakfast. But as the pair was just about to open the back door, they noticed something so bizarre that it literally froze them in their tracks. Right there in their own backyard was something they had never seen before, and it was staring right back at them. Could this be some sort sort of bizarre dog or cat, maybe a fox with too much melanin. While this was clearly not a domesticated animal, after the initial surprise of seeing him, it didn't seem exactly frightened by the humans either. The creature even began approaching the sliding glass door. But soon, the family started to get confused. This animal didn't show any signs of leaving anytime soon. It had black and silver fur. It was gorgeous, in fact, but what could this be? They contacted the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, and they were also completely floored. As it turns out, this creature is extremely rare. It is a silver fox. Number 9. McKinney Mayor Pro Tempore relocates massive beehive from Selena backyard. Carolyn Walker is a lucky woman. She only has to take a few steps outside her home in McKinney, Texas to witness the glory and wonders of the natural world. This is partly because her next-door neighbor has created a safe haven for all kinds of creatures, and in particular, several species of birds. The backyard is filled with all different kinds of trees, and there's plenty of activity to keep anyone amazed and busy. But one day, Walker's neighbor decided to trim the trees back off her property, and what they found surprised the entire state. It was a massive, gigantic, colossal beehive that was clinging onto the trees. They both knew exactly what to do: call the mayor. That's because the mayor pro tempore for the city of McKinney is also a beekeeper by hobby. At that time, he had been into beekeeping for close to 13 years and had 15 beehives. With bees slowly disappearing from our planet, this was truly wonderful news. Nobody in the whole county had ever seen such a big hive. Now, they get to live happy and well taken care of by none other than the mayor of the city, and Walker and her neighbor will probably have free honey for life. It's a win-win situation, even for the bees. Number 8. Clumsy kangaroo hits fence while hopping out of backyard. A woman has filmed the clumsy moment a kangaroo tried to clear a 6-foot corrugated metal fence. The curious event occurred in Adelaide, Australia, in the backyard of a woman named Cassandra Brockhoff. When she walked into her garden, she realized there was a large kangaroo enjoying the grass she put so much work into. She ran back inside to grab her phone and film the creature. She called the marsupial over to her, hoping for a cute moment, but then this happened. The poor, scared animal attempted to jump over the huge fence, only to catch his foot on the top and fall face first on the other side. But jokes aside, that looks like it must have hurt. The unfortunate creature probably cut his foot in the process of trying to escape into the neighbor's backyard. Brockhoff thought the same thing as she went to check on the clumsy marsupial, but by the time she got there, it was already hopping away. And for those who have never been to Australia, Brockhoff wants to make sure you understand this is not a usual occurrence. There are not usually kangaroos in people's backyards. I don't know if I buy it. Number 7. Idaho dream house was infested with snakes. Trigger warning: if you have ophidiophobia, this is not the video for you. This is a nightmarish house, or a brilliant one, depending on if you like or hate snakes. In this unique and bizarre home that the Sessions bought as their first ever residence, there are other uninvited residences that are starting to cause serious problems. Shortly after buying the 5-bedroom house, their dream house, if you will, Ben and Amber Sessions started to notice that there was an unusual number of snakes everywhere on the property. They slithered behind the walls at night, releasing a foul-smelling musk into their drinking water. Imagine your morning coffee tasting like snake. It got to the point that the Sessions killed 42 snakes in one single day, but they just kept showing up out of nowhere. The young couple had to accept the fact that they would have to share their home with the reptiles. But there were so many of them, the grass on the yard seemed to move. When they called for help, they discovered that the house was built right on top of a garter snake den, where the non-poisonous reptiles congregate by the thousands in the fall and winter to hibernate all together. The saddest part of this story is that the real estate agent knew exactly the issue with the home. He made them sign a paper that stated they knew about it, and at the same time telling them that they were just stories. Always make sure to thoroughly check the house you're buying. Number 6. Girl finds diamond in backyard. This little girl, who goes by the name of April Sanity, found something in her yard that would change her life. It was a beautiful day that day, so she decided to go gather the golf balls that were laying around her backyard. She was minding her own business, tidying up and whatnot, when she saw something shining in the grass. As she approached the mysterious sparkle, she realized it was a diamond. Of course, she grabbed it and ran as fast as humanly possible to show it to her parents.
Something shiny, then I picked it up. I thought it was glass, but then I showed my dad.
At first, everyone in her family thought it was probably a fake diamond. It probably fell from one of her princess tiaras. But as April was so insistent, they accepted to test the sparkly rock. And what do you know? The diamond passed all the tests. It was a real one. Little April now possesses a 1-carat diamond. But as the responsible little girl she is, she has decided to sell it for about $1,000 and keep the money until she needs it when she'll be all grown up. Never dismiss what children tell you. They may have a busy imagination, sure, but they can also be right sometimes. Number 5. Couple finds 10 million gold coin jackpot in backyard. We would all love to go on a lovely walk in the woods one day and not only enjoy being outside with your loved ones, but also find something that makes you a very wealthy person. That's the dream, right? Well, as it turns out, this can and has happened. Northern California is known as gold country, but in this story, the gold didn't come from the rivers or the valleys, but from a treasure worthy of any pirate movie out there. A couple went out to walk their dog one day around their home near San Francisco, only to stumble across a modern-day bonanza. Exactly $10 million in rare, mint-condition gold coins buried in the shadow of an old tree. And because the tree is on their property, the coins are theirs by law. There were 1,427 coins that experts have dated from 1847 to 1894. They are uncirculated and incredibly well preserved. Although the face value of most of the coins only adds up to about $27,000, some of the gold pieces are so incredibly rare that they could easily sell for $1 million apiece. Like Eminem himself said, "This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music the moment you..." Sorry. Number 4. An amusing marble collection. Who doesn't love marbles? They are wonderful toys for children, and actually a lot of adults also collect them. But to find an entire collection in your own yard? That's a new one for sure. A man was doing some yard work one sunny afternoon when he came across a little tiny glass marble. Now, the man likes marbles. Again, who doesn't? And so he put the little sphere in his pocket. A while later, in a completely different section of the yard, he found yet another pretty marble. Now, of course, he picked that one up too. He didn't think too much of it at first. The house could have belonged to a family with children previously, and we all know how messy kids can be sometimes, especially with such little objects. But the curious thing, though, is that marbles just kept appearing all over the place in his front and backyard. He even dug down into the dirt about a foot to put a new fence in the back of his property, and there was also a marble. They were absolutely everywhere. The man started to put all the little finds in a jar, and the anecdote went on for 5 years. He's probably still finding marbles all over his yards to this day. All I can think is he better be careful while mowing those lawns. Number 3. Stolen Watford church silver found in garden. There was a robbery at Watford Church in Northamptonshire. The culprits got away with several pieces of 18th century silverware which were donated to the church in 1720. Thankfully, a local resident found 3 pieces of the stolen items in his own garden. The neighbor was clearing his garden at Laundry Cottage on Church Street when he found the silver pieces: a chalice, a flagon, and a plated bowl. After this event, local police are asking other neighbors to look in their respective gardens to see if the robbers hid more items scattered around the area surrounding the church. Still missing are a silver alms dish, a silver paten, a silver bread holder, and a silver mother-of-pearl baptismal shell. Parishioner Dan White thinks that maybe the criminals didn't want to get caught with such distinctive items. They probably dumped the silverware over a wall intending to come back to them at a later time, but then weren't able to do so. All the items were a gift to the church from Sarah Clerk, who was the widow of Sir George Clerk, the Lord of Watford, and all the items were inscribed as such. Sadly, the items recovered have been damaged, but everyone is thrilled to have them back at the church. Number 2. Woman's security camera captures baby dinosaur-like creature running across her garden. As you all know, security cameras don't always have the best quality of footage, so much so that sometimes the video can really confuse and scare people. Homeowners around the world often get taken aback by what they see on their monitors, especially at night. But what Christina Ryan's security camera captured was nothing short of terrifying. It all happened very early one morning when a small and bizarre creature suddenly ran across her garden. Ryan, who lives in Florida, was convinced it was a baby dinosaur, and to be honest, it does look exactly like a little velociraptor. You must all remember the iconic scene in the original Jurassic Park movie when the raptors are chasing after the young brother and sister all over the kitchen, right? Imagine seeing one running in your own garden. The terror! The mysterious creature seems to be running on its two hind legs and has a very long and thick tail. Some skeptical people may say it's probably a bird, but then how come this animal has two short front legs? Have you ever seen a bird with four legs? No, me neither. Just what is going on in Florida? Are dinosaurs making a comeback? Should we all be worried? Number 1. Spiders take refuge on man's backyard fence amid New South Wales floods. From the land where every animal is either deadly, huge, or seriously poisonous, we give you a house infested with thousands of spiders. Trigger warning, this video may be very disturbing for arachnophobes. Matthew Lovenfoss woke up one day to thousands of arachnids climbing over one another as they were desperately scuttling to higher ground amid New South Wales floods. The spiders seem to have escaped floodwaters in Conchella Creek by taking refuge on his backyard fence. And these aren't your ordinary house spiders either. They are massively huge. At some places, it's even hard to make out the color of the fence. There are so many spiders covering it. Lovenfoss, like the good Australian he is, seems unfazed by the whole situation. He casually films himself in front of the thousands of spiders like if it was nothing really important. But you can hear his dog crying in the background. At least one of them's aware of the gravity of the situation. By the images alone, these seem to be young huntsman spiders, which are the largest spiders in the world. Although they are poisonous, they are harmless to humans. Nonetheless, they are quite impressive and can make anyone run for the hills at first sight. Southeast Australia has experienced historic flooding in recent years, causing all kinds of small and big critters to retreat from their nesting grounds to higher and safer surfaces, such as garden fences. As you can see, all sorts of interesting things can be found in people's backyards. How about you? Have you ever discovered something unusual in your garden? Tell us about it. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time.